So our second group is international versus the local markets. And our group lead is Jin, who is on the screen. And in addition to his group, they have Songi and Chaya. So take it away, Jin, and you guys can launch into your presentation.
It's show up?
Yeah, yes. It's on the screen now.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All
right, so our team has members Songi, Chaya, and me as well, Jin. And so unfortunately, Songi couldn't make it today because she is having a personal emergency issue. So Chaya and I will be the only one who's gonna be present today. So our main topic is gonna be international versus United States. So first one is the time period of shift. Actually, I couldn't find the long term of the charts in California, so I brought up the whole United States chart from 2002 to 2021. Actually, 2001 to 2021. So on the chart, you can see the gray sign, like gray blocks. Those blocks are the whenever they have like a big issues in the real estate market. So on the very left side, you will see the small block. It is when the dot-com bubble happened. And from 2008 to 9, when it had a subprime mortgage happened, and you will see the small gray chart is end of, not end of, actually in the 2020, it is when the COVID outbreak. So median sales price of houses in the US from is upshift until 2008, until the mortgage bubble. And from the 2008, price met again in 2013, which it was like, down to up. But from the 2013 to now, I can say it's upshift. Next slide, please.
Hold on 1 second, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so I got this chart from the book Shift. So you can see the similarity between sales cycles and income cycles. And the book says sales cycle is about the school year in the United States. And I actually mentioned about the Korean market in midterm, but I didn't bring it detailed today because I didn't choose the country that I'm doing for this project, Korea. So I didn't bring it up. But if I say it shortly, the sales cycle is a little bit different in Korea. So in the United States, the school starts on around like August or September. So when you see the chart, it is upshift from like end of the school year, which is like May. But in Korea, we start our new school year on March, and end of the school year is December. But you can see the chart, same chart, like up shift chart from December to like March, February, and downshift from March, like to the summer and fall. So I thought it would be like kind of interesting. Next slide, please. Okay. So I felt like I chose 3 topics. So economically, there was a like shortage of like raw material, older materials, and low rates from like pandemic. Even the pandemic occurs, like some people are getting like more rich and buy houses, and that's why real estate like holding are like considered safe. And politically, I feel like housing supports and still stimulus checks make like lower the value of money. So like too many support or like social welfare can cause the price raises. And socially, since the prices are keep inclining, like big amount of mortgage and small down payments can happen, and that's why people are considering a house and actually bought a lot of houses. And one of the reason is FOMO, like which is fear of missing out. So people don't want to be like left out. And since everyone's like buying houses, like people want to buy a house, like some people make me want to buy a house even I cannot afford it. So I think that's one of the interesting too. Next slide, please. So buyer's market, sellers market, balance market. From the book Shift, it says buyer's market is more than 7 months of inventory, and balance market is 5 to 7, and seller's market is gonna be less than 5. But I feel like the concept of these three have to be updated because I cannot find like so inventory like more than like a month or two these days. So yeah, that's what I think. Next slide, please. So from this chart, the orange line is California. The black line is just whole United States. So median days on market from 2019 September and September 2021. So it was 55 days in California from May to August 2019, and from May to August 2020 it was $38. I mean 38 days, and May to August is 2021 is 25 days now. So I can say it is seller's market. Next slide, please. So in California market, I think it is up leg, and there are like too many opportunities for agents and brokers to survive and make a profit out of it. I feel like use and adapt the new tactics like strategies from the book Shift. So since the price don't decrease, I feel like agents have more like can earn more commission, and it's gonna be the big opportunities for them. Next slide, please. So here's a number of the homes on the market. So from 2020, 1st of January and October 1st. So on January 2020, there were 58,000, and 2020 May was 55,000, and August 2020 was 52,000, and May this year was 35,000. So which is they were like low inventory these days. Next slide, please. So I put the mortgage. I got the calculator from US Bank. So I don't have FICO credit score yet. So I just put imaginally. So FICO's credit score of 740 and single family homes as primary residence. And I put 3.25 rate and 3.319 APR. So this is what I got for result. It can be different today because I know the mortgage rates are like changing every day. So conventional fixed rate mortgages is a fixed or adjustable rate, like fully amortized loan secured by a mortgage or debt of trust that is not insured or guaranteed by an agency of the federal government, like such as FHA or VA. Next one, please. So FHA is Federal Housing Admin. Is part of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. They provide mortgage insurance on loans made by FHA approved lenders. And VA loan is mortgage is for the like U.S. veterans, whoever serving the military service. They usually give really low rates. Next one, please. So affordable index is HAI. It's been decreasing since last year when you see the chart. High HAI means it is worthy to buy house with mortgage, but low HAI means it can be a burden or risky to buy house with mortgage. So low HAI less mean less charm, but over evaluated. High HAI means like more attractive and undervalued. So demand, high percentage means homes selling above list price and housing market is competitive and bidding wars are becoming more common. And low percentage means opposite. May 2021 highest was 66.6. And I'm talking about the California, the orange one. And people want to buy homes more and more, and it is getting serious. I feel like it. Next one, please. So here's a supply chart. So this line is only California. I didn't bring the US this time. So from May to August 2019, average was 97,000. Same period 2020 was 70,000, which is 28% down. And same period this year was 51,000, which is like 27% down from the last year. So high demand, low supply causes pricing increases. So here's the home values, average home values. So I couldn't find like more than 5 years, so I just brought 3 years, so we can compare like before COVID and after the outbreak. So from 2019 to 2020, it was $530,000, and 2020 to 2021 was $572,000, which is 8% increase. And 2021 January to October was $684,000, which is 90% increase from last year. So today I'm gonna cover about Canada and Australia, about their real estate. So Canada is the country in North America. It is placed between mainland of the United States and Alaska, and there is Greenland on the northern side too. Next slide, please. So here is the map of Canada. So you see that BC and ON, which is British Columbia and Ontario state. Well, I don't know how to say like state or, well, yeah, it's gonna be state for our concept. So BC and Ontario are the highest value in Canada. So I will say I'll compare from last year and this year. The housing rate's different. So YT decreased 3.6%, and NT has decreased 2.3%, and BC, which is British Columbia, has Vancouver, it increased 13%, and Ontario they went up 20%. And AB, SK, MB, they increased like 4%. And QC has increased 15.4%, And there is a small states right next to the QC. You can see in blue. The funny thing is it's called New Brunswick, and they increase 31%. Next one, please. So here's a Canada real estate market trends. So the blue line is transactions, and orange line is for the price. So 2020 February, it was $542,000, and March 2020, actually it went down to 488, and September 2020, it went up to $607,000, and February 2021, it has marked $716. So here's a new housing price index, which is NHPI. It is set to 100 in 2017, and it marked 103 on August 2019 to December 2019, and it went up to 104 on March 2020, and November 108, and this year March 112, and August 119. So it is keep increasing since like March last year, which is COVID outbreak. So next is Australia. Australia is one of the biggest country in the world, and it is placed in Oceania. And next slide, please. So I think there's one slide before that slide, Chaya. Okay, thank you. So I didn't put the source of on every slide, but I didn't find all those sources from Australia, not from the internet. Actually, I asked for the Core Logic. There is a website who gather like database from all around the world, I guess. And I sent a message, and can I get a database for the like November, and they send it through me after they check that I am a student. So I just didn't put it, but I will upload it on the Populi, the file. So here's the Australian housing values difference. So last 3 months it went up to 4.6%, but in 12 months it went up to almost 22%. Next slide, please. So here's 12 months changes chart from 2011 October to 2021 October. So from October 2019 to October 2021, it went up around like 10% rapidly in early 2020. But surprisingly, did not go up that much until the third quarter. So it has increased more than 20% nationally. So here's a median days on market. So days on market is 29 days, and it was 39 days last year, October. So it is not that big difference, I think. And the listings is 144,000 listing by the end of the October. But when you see the chart, you cannot think how big it is or how small it is. But compared to 5-year average, it is down to 26.1%. So which is very low. So here's the rental rates. Actually, oh. Okay, sorry about that. So rental value usually increase more than 3% from like 2016. But however, this year it marked 9.2%. So even the rental rates mark highest, the rental yield reached fresh record low of 3.3%. And it is usually stay around like 4%. So even though they went up to 9.2, give me a second, please. Sorry. Even the rental fee went up to like 9.2% this year's because the household price went up to like 26% average. So I think that's why it marked to the lowest for the profit. And that's it for me, and I will make Chaya to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. So for me, I'm gonna talk about the real estate in Thailand and Japan. So let's start in Thailand. So Thailand is the capital of Thailand. Is like very large city and like high building, very traffic. It is the one of the Asians of the most population city and like a lot of temple places and busy markets. So let's talk about the real estate in Thailand. So let's go about like condominium in Bangkok market is slowing even before the pandemic has hit its lower point in a decade. According to the ninth ranked Thailand, the second quarter of 2020 was down by 73.2% compared to the same period last year. And from that, a sale rate up just like 14% and like representing 26% like decline year on year and 60% drop down in like this quarter. So this the largely down because the COVID affected that has also like because the enormous country tourist industry and like leaving many to ask whatever Thailand need the sign of change to move from like more sustainable development model. So therefore the rental is generally negative with the huge dip as foreign buyer and the renters account form a lot of the transaction in the market. The largest percentage swing is made from the residential price in Bangkok, with price up to as low as 4.9% decrease, with hopeful recovery at like 7.4% increase in 2021, like a Chiang Mai, as you can see in the picture. However, is like forecast to grow even more significantly at like 12.8%. So COVID has temporarily whipped out tourism in like first quarter 2021. Only like 100 like about 120 tourists arrived, down 99% from 6.69 million tourists a year. During 2020, as you can see in the graph, there were only 6.7 million foreign tourists in the country and like declined from almost 40 million arrived in 2019. So the average price of single house in Thailand is rose by 1.2% during the year to May 2021. It's sharply down from the previous like 5.9%, and the low year-over-year increase since August 2017. According to the Bank of Thailand, when adjusted on the inflections, price actually fell by like 1.2%. However, the mid and low income, because like the housing sector has been like buyer by low interest rates. So this is the picture of the condominium of in Thailand. The price increased by the 0.1% is seem not not a lot, but it's still a lot. Like in May 2021 from year early, a sharp slowdown from year-over-year rise, about 7.9% in May 2020. And it is the picture of the townhomes. The pie is about 1.4%, but it's declined like 1% in the rent terms. During the year May 2021, a slowdown from the period year 5.5% year over year. So is the new housing unit in the capital also fell down like 18% year over year, about like Jan to April 2021, because the property transactions are failing. In the first 4 months of 2021, land and building transaction is total about like 267 million, about like $8.24 billion, is down 11.7% from year early, by from 19% like 2 years ago. According to the Bank of Thailand, follow annual like decline about 5.3% in 2020. And the demand is particularly from foreigners is expected to remain like subdued during the remainder of the year after the discovery of the transmissible COVID-19 is like in many countries to like in the crowd. In June 2021, the government announced new restriction in Bangkok and like surround area. So sale transactions continue to fall. Other foreigners of Thailand saw foreign transaction in Jan to April 2021 compared to the same period like 2 years ago. In the central is about like $5.6 billion is the first full month of 2021 from the 2 years ago. In the eastern part is dropped 20.9%, and the northern is like unchanged from 2 years ago, and the northern Thailand is fell about 10.3%, and the southern part of Thailand it fell by like 10%. And the demand for low to moderate is like house still exists. However, the real demand, not like speculative demand, still exists for like low rate housings below like 3 million baht Thailand, or like $92, which is like about 70% of the market. This is like from 2008 to 2018, the house price is raised by 39%. For in 2019, the house market strength with price is rising by 5.3% from the earlier. However, due to the pandemic, like the COVID, house price is go like slowed to about like 2% last year. So the mortgage rate of interest is fell. For the mortgage, lending has continued to grow. As of the April, the personal housing credit and total property credit outstanding rose by 7.6% and 3.5% like year over year. In about June 2021, the Bank of Thailand keeps the like a benchmark interest rate to a record low like 0.5%. The size of Thailand mortgage market is grow about 20% of GDP in 2020. So GHB Bank, the country's large retail mortgage lender with about 30% market share of the bank sector mortgage loan outstanding, approved a total like like 255 billion baht like worth of housing loan in 2020. Then in like first quarter, like in 2021, the bank developed about $1.32 billion in the mortgage up for the same period last year. So the residential construction activity depressed, like a nationwide condominium registrations plummeted by 33.6%, like until January to April, like from a year earlier. In draft contract to 21.6 go in 2020. In Bangkok, its condominium, it fell by 40% year over year, about 10,600 units. And the other province is condominium like dropped down 20%. So new housing project is down 15%, and the apartment is down 20%, and sale building, but in the sale building is up 4.2%. To boost the airing construction sector, the government announced in July 2021 its plan to allow like some project to resume in Bangkok and surrounding province, although most switched with like demand cost, as the country battle its biggest corona outbreak to date. For this one is economist coronavirus pandemic hits the Thailand economy. The nation's Economic and Social Development, or NESDC, has recently downgraded its 2021 growth forecast to 1.5% to 2.5% from its earlier projections of 2.5% to 3.5%. So like Thailand's economy has suffered by 6.1 during 2020. So it's the bigger fall in more than 2 decades, mainly due to like lack of the tourists and traffic high in export to the COVID pandemic. So this is the picture of Bangkok, Thailand. So the Bank of Thailand try to like figure out about like a pandemic, about the real estate, everything in Thailand right now. So let's move to Tokyo. It's like Japan is located in like Tokyo Bay. Is very popular country in the world, like a lot of tourists, a lot of like cultures. So Japan housing market is remain steady. Like the nationwide residential property price index rose by about 0.8% during the year, like third quarter in 2020, following year over year in spite of 0.6% in 2021. And quarter on quarter, house price increased 2.4%. So in Tokyo area, this is like the picture of the condominium. It's like the exceeding condominium average price is like 3.3% during the year is November 2020. And the new condominium is about 11.76%. And the existing like another area is about 2.94% year over year. And this one is in the Osaka area. The existing condominium is fall by like 0.4%, and a new condominium is rose strongly by 10.83%. And another area is about like falling by 3.5%. So from 2012 to 2019, existing condominium price in Tokyo is rose by 43%, while the new condominium is increased 33%. In October 2017, is what like re-erected again for the third consecutive time as head of the ruling liberal Democratic Party or LDP, which make him like Japan's longest serving prime minister. In September 2017, the government unveiled a new JPY2 trillion, like for like the first in the role. So demand is weakness in Japan. In Tokyo, the number of existing condominium is so fell by like 5.6%, and like about like 33,000 units in the first even month for like from the year earlier. And in Osaka, is the existing condominium is so fall by like 6.8% until like Jan to November 2020. So residential construction is progressing, like dispute Tokyo's successful bid to host the 2020 Summer Olympics, now postponed and scheduled to be held on July like 23rd, like it just parted. So the house start fall by like 10% in the first even month of 2020 from the previous of years, following 3 consecutive years like of year-over-year decline, and according to the MLIT. So in the major area is Tokyo, the number of house starts falling by like 8%. In Osaka, falling by like 4.7%. Nagoya is dropped like 16%, and other area it fall like 11.9%. As you can see, is almost every area is like falling down. And the Japan tracking population is producing a surplus of housings. One of Japan's biggest problems is its declining populations. It is estimated that Japan will lose a third of its population over in like 50 years. And the population will more like having from like 126 million and like in 2017 to just like 50 million in like 50 years later, like according to the Nation Institute of Population and Society Research. In addition, about like 40% of population will be over 65 by 2016. Moderate rentals, falling rent. In Tokyo, like the central district, the gross rate yield, the return earned on the purchase price of the rental property before taxations, vacancy costs, and other costs rate from 3.4% to 5%, according to the global poverty guidance, like Guider Research. Rents are falling in Tokyo 23rd ward. The average mid-market asking rent was like about $38.2 per square meter. In the first quarter, is down 1.9% from the previous quarter. Likewise in Tokyo Central, 5 ward average mid-market rent dropped about 1.2%. So interest rate remain very low, house loan rising modestly. So the BOJ's key rate has been below 1% since mid-1990s. In like January 2021, the central bank policy rate stood at like minus 0.10% unchanged since January 16th, and the result, the mortgage rate are very low. The interest rate for 10 years fixed rate home rates from like just 0.6% to 1.2% last year. Okay, so the COVID-19 have hit Japan already, like the staggering economic. The Japan economic contracted by 5% in 2020 as the COVID-19 pandemic is affects consumptions as well as export. The economic is expected to recover this year with a project real like GDP goal like 2.3% according to the International Monetary Fund or IMF. In fact, the government is even more optimistic, expecting the economy to post 4% expansion during 2021. So you guys have any questions about the Thailand or Japan? I think I'm done like pretty much for our group. Thank you so much.
Hi, you guys did a great job. Thank you so much. I do have a couple questions
Yes.
I wrote down. So this was a lot of really great new information for me because I haven't really studied the international real estate market in general. And you guys picked several countries to look into. You picked Australia, Canada. You also picked Tokyo, Japan, or I'm sorry, Japan and Thailand. So why did you guys decide on those markets in particular?
For me, because I'm from Thailand, I think it's good for me to learn more about it. The real estate in Japan, like in Thailand, also in Japan too, because it's kind of like popular city. So it's good to know like how people like buy the house or demand of the people. Because I think like in Japan they have like a small house, like very cute house, but it's very crowded. So it's kind of interesting for me to like learn more.
And I take it that Songi chose the Australia and the Canadian markets. Is that right?
Actually, I did it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Tell me why you chose those.
So I picked Australia and Canada because I know these two countries have like a lot of raw materials. So I was wondering like so since like Korea and America housing prices like went up crazy. So how about the countries they have like a lot of sources and the low materials, but it was not that different with rest of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked to me from your presentation that those markets were pretty similar to the US in a lot of ways. So I thought that was interesting. It was very striking to me, the Thailand market, and especially the Japanese market. Tell me a little bit more about what you guys, like some of the differences you guys saw in the market in Thailand and market in Japan as it's related to US, Australia, and Canada. What are those major differences that like surprised you guys?
I think the price of the square feet is kind of different. Yeah. And like
I had to do the calculation on that, the square meter versus square foot. So it's about 10 square feet per square meter calculation. Go ahead. What else were you saying?
Yeah, it's kind of thing, and like the price is kind of different. Yes. It's like I think if I have like some money, I can like if I can invest the money on the real estate. I think like in here is kind of expensive. Like if like compare in like Thailand or Japan, it's kind of like big different.
And how about the interest rates too in Japan? Was anybody surprised with the interest rates being what they were in Japan versus US?
I think it's not like too much different, but in Thailand it's so different because it's really low. If like comparing like US.
Yeah, so we're like still in a historically low moment of interest rates. In the US, our interest rates are, I just looked it up because you guys brought it up. It's 3.029% today on a 30-year fix. And
Mhm.
then the one in Japan, I saw, I didn't catch the one in Thailand, but in Japan, it's at 0.06%,
Mhm.
which is, that seems really crazy. Like, that is
Okay.
so cheap. Like, that is cheap money right there. So
Yeah.
why aren't people rushing to Japan to buy property there?
Already. Yeah.
That's the question that came up. But it looks like there's a lot of reasons too in some of the data that you presented. You know, there's a lot of inventory that's available in
Mhm.
Japan because of the shrinking population that you talked about. What might be some other reasons for that?
I think I don't know right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. It's just something
I
to
think like there are many reasons, but it's not coming up yet.
Oh, no, it's okay. No,
Yeah.
no. I thought it's really, really interesting. So thank you guys for that. I thought it was really great. And it brought up a lot of questions for me. And because again, these aren't markets that I've really looked into, but it was really fascinating to see just like the differences between all of these countries and how I think in the US we get very stuck in like our local market in California and the US, and then we forget that there's so much happening in the rest of the world. But when we look at the markets and how different they are and what other factors might be going on, like the pandemic is still something that is impacting countries in different ways though. And it's very apparent by some of the data that you've shared too. So thank you guys for that. I'm going to open up. Do you guys have any questions in the crowd that you want to bring up?
I just wanted to ask,
Yeah,
just
I'm
to
gonna
make
switch
sure
it
in
over.
the Canada markets, so all the housing prices are in Canada dollars, not the US dollars.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's Canadian dollars, not US dollars.
This is extremely high, so.
Yeah. So you have to like multiply 0.9 around. Yeah, so it's gonna be US dollar after that.
Other than that, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's everything is on Canadian dollars.
It's in Canadian dollars.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.